Hey YouTubers, Hike with Mike here of course, and I'm in one of my secret spots. One of the many secret spots I have, because I really like to be alone. That's the whole purpose for me, is to be away from people, because in my work I'm around people all the time, so when I can get out and just clear my head, it's always good medicine. And what I do every year is, I don't actually bring this with me. When I come home, I write in a journal, or sometimes I bring these tiny little booklets to write down information, is I keep a hiking log every year. And I put down the date, the mileage I did, what the weather conditions were at, where I was at, how I felt, and log down cool things that happened, you know, like coming across a herd of deer and things like that, or an amazing sunset. And I just wanted to share some of the cool stuff in the past year. January 3rd, right off the bat, I found a new secret spot, which I love. And then, of course, went to the Green Swamp a lot. Early in January, me, Campfire Steve, the swamp camper, we went out to the Green Swamp. It was really cold, and it was really a fun time. You know, whenever I get with those rascals, it's always a fun time. But as usual, it's the Green Swamp. We found something weird, a weird light in the distance. We tried to follow it for a little bit, and we took our eyes off it, and then it was gone. It's just like one of those weird things that happened there. I did a lot of solo campouts in the Green Swamp, which I really like, because off in the distance, miles away, there's a CSX railroad line. It's always cool to hear the sound of the whistle, not the whistle, the horn of the trains way in the distance, and the howling, and it gets the coyotes all fired up, so they start howling like crazy, and it's really cool to hear in the middle of the night. Here's something where, again, like why weather conditions are important is, I was at my usual spot that I go to. I wrote down, it was a bit drizzly. I had to find a palmy hammock to stay dry, so I would look for a hammock with huge palm leaves and stuff, get underneath that and stay dry, which is kind of cool to just note stuff like that, you know, what's going on weather-wise. Went on, like I said, a couple of backcountry campouts with either solo or with Campfire Steve. I went to a place in March called Serenity Camp. It's one of my favorite camps, and I tested out the Teton 3400 backpack, which I won from Happy Trails Camper. So check out that channel. It's a great channel. And sometimes what you originally plan and you change ends up being better. It's kind of like you never know what worse luck your bad luck protected you from. I was really excited about a Green Swamp camp, and this was in April, solo camp. And I had a bad vibe, and I always listen to my vibes. I just really had a bad feeling. So I had to change it, and I changed it to one of my favorite spots, Good Medicine Camp. And it ended up being an amazing camping trip. It was great. I had the whole place to myself. It was wonderful. So sometimes I'm a big believer in listening to your vibes, because it'll protect you, I think, in some ways, you know. Of course, I went to Otter Point a lot, hiking there, because that's one of my favorite places, and so there's lots of mileage in here, and talks and experiences about what was going on at Otter Point. In June, I did a 2-day overnight with the swamp camper, and then Campfire Steve came the second day, and that was really nice. It was a really good time. It was nice to do a 2-dayer, because usually I'm just an overnighter, so that was cool, and I hope to do more of those in the coming year. And then in early summer, we got deluged with like apocalyptic rainfall. It was really bad. And normally, some of the campsites I'm at, there's dry gullies, rocky gullies and stuff that are always dry. And because of all the rain we had, there was waterfalls everywhere. And it was really cool. It completely changed the whole nuance and ambiance of the camping area where I was at. And so that I really appreciated that a lot. Of course, afterwards, the the fire road was closed for like 3 months to get to it because of all the flooding. But I'm glad I got to experience a different feel to the normal dryness of the gullies and things like that. And it's like that famous saying from Henry David Thoreau, there is no bad weather, just different kinds of weather. I'm a big believer in that too. And I reaped the benefits of that with all the rain that we had at that one campsite. Let's see here. I had some weird things that happened. I had to leave one campsite in the middle of early evening. There was a lot of gunfire and stuff like that, and I was like, who fires guns in a campsite? So I figured, you know what, I'm gonna leave. That vibe thing came in. August, I went to another forest that I know where there's carnivorous plants, and got to look at some hooded pitcher plants and things like that, which are very rare, and that was really cool too. Also, I did a lot of hiking in August, and I'm acclimated to the weather in Florida, and August is probably the hottest month, but that doesn't bother me. I'm not a big cold person. But I was always trying to find this cemetery in the middle of the woods. And I decided I was going to give it a try, and I got to the trailhead, and there was a couple coming. And I said, you didn't happen to be at the cemetery? They said, yeah. And I said, you know how to get to it? And they said, we spent hours looking for it. We finally found it. So they just said, follow our footsteps the best you can to find it. And what was kind of cool about that is I ended up, the woman knew my daughter and my niece, so that was kind of cool. I went to the Green Swamp with Campfire Steve. I brought my hawks because I love to throw tomahawks. We did a lot of tomahawk throwing. Like I said, there was a couple people. You know, normally I don't like to be around people that like camp next to me, but luckily the two people I met that I camped next to this year were really cool. I enjoyed their company a lot, so that was good medicine. Let's see here. In November, there's always been a mystery at a certain place I go to. It is like, I don't know if you're familiar with the Gurdon or Durden lights, but it's kind of something similar like that I see at this campsite in the distance. This little flashing light. And in November, I was determined to find out the mystery on that. And of course, the weather app said, oh, no rain at all. So when I got to the campsite, it was just this cold, drizzly rain. And they didn't bring any rain gear, so I couldn't go out. The light was there, but I couldn't go out in that rain because I didn't want to ruin my camera, so it's still a mystery. We'll see. I'll come back at some point and revisit that mystery. We had the Halloween campsite with Swamp Camper, Campfire Steve, Uncle Bubba showed up, so that's always a fun time too. And then there was a lot of trips recently that I'm not going to go over because they're all videos that you've recently seen, but I highly recommend that you keep a hiking journal like this. And I ended up at the end of the year with 181 happy, fun hiking memories. And that's always good medicine, so definitely get yourself a little hiking log and log all those things. And it's always cool. I look forward to New Year's because I go back and I reflect on the whole year and all the good memories, and that's always good medicine.